Islam, Moors? Arise, giving all praises to Allah, Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the balanced universes. The highest of honors to his prophet, holy prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. I extend further honors to the most honorable Markham Zion Garvey, founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and historic the nations. Islam. Give high honors as well to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the green 5 pointed star in the center. 5 points representing love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam. High honors as well. American flag, stars and stripes, which exists as a constant reminder the European owes you the Moors of compound interest. Islam. Giving honors to you, the ills and babes, for without you, there is no Moorish movement. Islam. How's everyone on the holy night? Praise Allah. Tonight, I would like to open by way of demonstrating from an older Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Basically the cover, the front cover, the back cover, and what's on the insides. Okay? The Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and the Moorish Science Temple of America. Divinely prepared by the noble prophet, Drew Ali, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen state of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Islam. Know thyself and thy Father God Allah. The genealogy of, and it says in quotation marks, Jesus. So for those taking notes, right there, just put Jesus and put it in quotation marks. Okay? Know thyself and Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, the life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, in the land of Egypt. Next we have a picture of the Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Okay? Underneath it, it says, Noble Drew Ali, the prophet and founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. Okay. Reverse cover, the very back cover. Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of Holy Temple of Science, or Moorish Science Temple of America. Know yourself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man needs to worship under his own vine and fig tree. The uniting of Asia. Islam. Inside cover, inside back cover. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate, and to know of their higher and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for the teaching and instructing of all Moorish Americans, etc. All Moorish Americans, etc. Islam. Why am I reading something, that one would consider to be elementary? A lot of times we lose concept in our foundation and the essence of what this movement is built upon, predicated upon. Islam, if you don't know the foundation of what Moorish science is, it is impossible to build any further or extend the learning, as the Prophet said. Okay? There are many that, as our Lieutenant Grand Governor said, embrace various different principles of Moorish science, but not the entire program. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and he presents you with an entire program. And everything in that program was divinely prepared for our condition here in North America. Islam, whether it be the hatred aspect, right? He says to learn to love instead of hate. Islam, our people know hatred, hatefulness. So much so that, a popular phrase became that, oh, he's hating on me, or she's hating on me, right? We know hate, but how many of our people really know what love is? You know what I'm saying? The essence of what love is, right? So the first lesson you learn in the Moorish Science Temple of America is learn to love instead of hate. And learn to love instead of hate outside yourself? No, you learn to love instead of hate yourself first. Because if you're able to learn to appreciate that, then with your brother or with your sister, it's not difficult at all. Islam? Right? Next is the aspect of what we're saying, Islam. Because when the Prophet came to us, just like now, 98% of our people are what? Christian. Right? But what does it mean to be Christian? Can anybody tell me? What does it mean? What are the implications of being a Christian?
To try to be Christ-like, to imitate Jesus.
Okay. Anyone else? Attack it from this perspective. When the Catholic Church first imposed Christianity on our people, what was their intent? Was it to enlighten? What was it to do? Speak up. Say again.
Control.
Control. What type of control? You named it, right? Exactly. Right? Anybody ever heard of the doctrine of discovery? Write it down. For those taking notes. When they say Christopher Columbus came to America, what did they say he did with the land he what?
Found it.
He discovered it.
Discovered.
Right? And when he got here, the people that he found here, because clearly the land was already inhabited. The people that he found here, there was a specific word that he called them. What did he call them? Starts with S. Savages. Now, in the doctrine of discovery, the doctrine of discovery is actually a political doctrine. Okay? Firstly, how many people know that the Catholic Church actually has a government? Y'all clear on that? Let's go through it. The Catholic Church's government is called a Holy See. The Pope is not only the religious head, but he is also a head of state. The Pope is a monarch. Okay? The Pope's what they call honorific. Right? Which is his title of honor is vicar, some say vicar. Anyone know what this word means? Vicar, sometimes they call him the grand vicar or vicar, means that he is God on earth until God returns. That's loud. They also call him another honorific, which is the supreme pontiff. The pontiff, bridge builder. Okay? So the whole deal with the popes and the Holy See, when you're dealing with the doctrines of discovery, there are three main documents we want to look up. The first one's called Dum Diversas. These are all Latin terms. The next is Romanus Pontifex. The next is Inter Caetera. Okay? Noble Drali is telling you that you must return the church and Christianity to the European, for it was founded for their earthly salvation. He wasn't just, set tripping. Basically saying that, okay, I don't want y'all to be Christians, I want y'all to be Muslims, so y'all do it. No. When he was talking about, he said return, he didn't say just church, he said the church. When you talk about the church, of all the Christian churches that exist, when you hear the term the church, which church is being referenced? The Catholic Church. What does the word Catholic mean? Anyone? Catholic means universal. Which means they promulgated or taught a universal doctrine to be able to appeal to various different groups of people. This is how the Catholic Church was able to spread so far and wide. They had a little something for everyone. Okay? Now, in researching all of these doctrines, these doctrines of discovery, were targeted at the Moors, who in these texts they refer to as Moors or Saracens. Saracens, which just means easterly, one from the east. Okay? In these doctrines, Sister Lamont, can you hand me one of those, what are you doing with your freedom books back there? Thank you. In these doctrines, they don't mince words about what they're going to take from it. Okay? They don't mince words about taking anything from it. They deal with taking, let me just read some of the language of it. Okay, and this is coming from a book I was blessed to author called What Are You Doing With Your Freedom? We have them available in the back. It says, in a document known as Dum Diversas, decreed by, and this is the actual Pope that wrote the document, Pope, which the Pope is the chief bishop of Rome. It's also known as the Bishop of Rome. Pope Nicholas V. So write his name down so you can research him. Nicholas V. He wrote this to King Alphonse, who was the king of Portugal. The date is June 18th, 1452. Okay? In the 6th year of the pontificate, Pontiff, bridge builder, right? Of Pope Nicholas, we find the following language targeted at the Moors, i.e. the Saracens. This is the literal words of the document. It says, as we indeed understand, he's talking to a European king here, as we indeed understand from your pious and Christian desire, you intend to subjugate the enemies of Christ, namely the Saracens or the Moors, right? And bring them back with powerful arm to the faith of Christ, if the authority of the Apostolic See, the government of the Catholic Church, right, supported you in this. Therefore, we consider that those rising against the Catholic faith and struggling to extinguish Christian religion must be resisted by the faithful of Christ with courage and firmness, so that the faithful themselves, inflamed by the ardor of faith and armed with the courage to be able to hate their intentions. So you see the Pope promoting hate, the hatred of the Moors. This is what he's promoting, okay? To be able to hate their intentions, not only to go against the intention if they prevent unjust attempts of force, but with the help of God, whose soldiers they are, they stop the endeavors of the faithless. We are fortified with divine love, summoned by the charity of the Christians and bound by the duty of our pastoral office, which concerns the integrity and spread of faith, for which Christ our God shed his blood, wishing to encourage the vigor of the faithful and your royal majesty in the most sacred intention of this kind, we grant you full and free power through the apostolic authority by this edict to invade, conquer, write this down, invade, conquer, fight, and subjugate the Saracens and pagans. The word pagan means anyone that existed before the Christian church was founded in 325 AD. That's anyone that they labeled pagan, okay? And other infidels. The word infidel means one who is not loyal to. The word fides meaning loyal, okay? And other enemies of Christ, and wherever established there. Okay, now they're going into the kingdoms that all the things that they're going to take from you, okay? The kingdoms, duchies, D-U-C-H-I-E-S. A duchy is the principality of a duke. Okay? Royal palaces, principalities, and other dominions, lands, places, estates, camps, and any other possessions, mobile and immobile goods found in all these places and held in whatever name. Because you know the Moors, through different clans and tribes at different times, use different names. Some of the Moors here, the indigenous ones in the Americas, may have used for a particular political purpose the name of Cherokee, or Iroquois, or Blackfoot, or, you know, Sioux, Nez Perce, which just means nose piercing, right? For various different reasons, right? But they were all Moors. Let's be clear on that. Islam says, they go back, and held possessed by the same Saracens, pagans, infidels, and enemies of Christ, also realms, duchies, royal palaces, principalities, and other dominions, lands, places, estates, camps, possessions of the king or prince, or of the kings or princes, and lead their persons in perpetual servitude. I'll get back to that in a minute. Write that down, perpetual servitude. And to apply and appropriate, which means to take, realms, duchies, royal palaces, principalities, and other dominions, possessions, and goods of this kind to you and your use and your successors, the kings, successive kings of Portugal. Islam? So this is all the things that led up to your enslavement. It was a successive overthrow decreed by the popes of Rome. Okay? And the key is that once they could get you, once they could basically remove all those things from you, write this term down. Denationalize. Prefix D meaning to subtract or take away from, right? Root word of nationalize is nation or nationality. Once they can take that away from you, it can justify their doctrine and lead you in perpetual servitude, as long as you went by those titles that they placed on you, the brand subsequent to that period. So the key was to get you to remove the nationality, because if you remove the nationality, remember, name is the title to land. Islam? All right? So if your forefathers were Moors, then you should have a Moorish name, which gives you title to the land. But if you have a name, Williams, Smith, Jones, Johnson, that's that perpetual servitude. Okay? Now, I would like you to do a research on the doctrines of discovery. Because you read that this is like 1452, 1458, so on and so forth, right? So our people in our ignorance will say, oh, that was long ago, these things don't apply. You know, the last time the doctrine of discovery was debated in a court setting in America? 2007. 2007. That's recent. That's yesterday. Because the same principles still apply. Is the Pope still in power?
Yeah.
Yes. Was there ever a time from that time where the popes weren't in power? No, they've had an unbroken chain of successors since, right? And the European kings and queens, and even presidents and chancellors, and so on and so forth now, right? They get their power from the Catholic Church. And he's still their boss. They still kiss the ring of the Pope. Have you seen it? Have you seen all presidents go to Rome, or when he comes here, kiss the ring? Have you seen Fidel Castro, revolutionary brother, Asiatic brother, we love him. Go back and Google Fidel Castro kissing Pope John Paul's ring on his knees. Why? Because he accepts them psychologically, no matter how much of a revolutionary he is. He accepts the Pope as God on earth. You can't beat that. See, this is what the prophet came to do, to undo the European psychology, right? Because along with accepting that Christianity, what you're calling Christ or Christos, and real quick, just for your Christian relatives, write this verse down. John chapter 1, verse 41, right? In the Bible it says, in that verse, we have found the Messiah, and then in parentheses it says, which is being interpreted to Christ. Parentheses is an author's note. Parentheses is parenthesis, the author's thesis, right? So it says we found Mashiach, or the Messiah, but the author said which we're going to interpret into Christ. A whole different entity. Jesus Christ and Yahshua HaMashiach, or Isa, or what we call justice, that and Jesus Christ are two different entities. Islam, when they say Jesus Christ, they're talking about Caesar Borgia, that image. Y'all know Caesar Borgia? For those that don't. Y'all know that picture in your grandmama's living room that don't look like nobody in your family? Caesar Borgia, who was the son of one of the popes, right? And he commissioned Leonardo da Vinci to paint a picture of Jesus Christ. And well, who should I use? You're the artist. And he used the Pope's son, Caesar Borgia. Okay? So that's the cat that you see with the long blonde hair, the Charles Manson's cousin. That's Caesar Borgia. Okay? And when you worship in that image, you're worshiping in the image of the Holy See. And you're admitting by default now, right? What they call, you ever heard the term benign neglect? Meaning, you didn't mean to do it, but you're still doing it. Right? That's what our people are under now, a thought system of benign neglect. You know, we don't mean to be Negroes, but we act like it because we don't know anything. Islam? All right? So now, we covered, that was done with the verses. right? And they, like I said, they mentioned taking everything from them, okay? All right, just read this section, then I'll move forward. When it said mobile, and this is in the dumb verses, mobile and immobile goods found in all these places and held in whatever name and held and possessed by the same Saracens, pagans, infidels, and enemies of Christ. That quote, we're going and unfold. It says, mobile goods may be any livestock, slaves, currency, gold, silver, etc. Books, national libraries, the largest library on earth is where?
It's in Rome.
About so many miles beneath the Vatican. Islam? National libraries, globes, maps, navigational instruments, horses, camels, ships, of which the Moors had an abundance for both commerce and trade, as well as military and navy, etc. Chariots, commodities, crops, etc. Mobile goods are referred to as movables, movable things, or write this term down, res, R-E-S, mobiles, M-O-B-I-L-E-S, res mobiles. Res in Latin means a thing or an object, okay? So mobile object. Immobile goods are those things such as land, trees, trade routes, buildings, natural land formations, burial grounds, ports, etc. Immovable is that which is defined as, quote, property from which its nature, destination, or the object to which it is applied cannot move or itself be moved, i.e. temples, pyramids, all that, right? And that was taken from Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition. It states that in whatever name they may be found. What does this mean? All Moors throughout the dominions denoting all of Northwest Africa, Southern Europe, North, Central, South America, and the adjoining islands did not refer to themselves as Moors due to clan and tribal differences, but yet they enjoyed the protection of the Emperor of Morocco, the Sultan of whatever period. Now, let me bring up modern day. We're on various different sides of the whole political spectrum. Oh, we don't like this president, we don't like that president, we don't like this policy, that policy. We don't agree with taxation, we don't agree with we should be taxed with them, right? But like it or not, we enjoy the benefit of not, let's say, walking out there and there be one of those cars that just explode. You know, in other countries they have car bombs, right? We may not like the policy of the U.S. The Pentagon, which gives the orders to the U.S. military, right? But like it or not, we enjoy the protections of safe borders to a degree. Yeah, there's stuff that happens, attacks in New York, right? But like in other countries, there's certain things we don't experience, right? So it was the same thing in the ancient world. There was various different ones that didn't agree with being under the command or the control of the Sultan of Morocco, who was over the Moorish Empire. Oh, the Sultan this is corrupt, this, that, da, da, da. But you're enjoying the protection of not being invaded by the European. See, that was the fact of the Sultan controlling. We go to the map. The Sultan was in power. The Moorish Empire was intact. The Moors controlled all of northern Africa, right? And both East and West Africa, right? Militarily, that's a frontal line, and you're controlling your flanks, okay? By controlling the frontal line and flanks, the Europeans who were just learning navigation couldn't come in through the Mediterranean. They couldn't come in through this way. They couldn't come around this way because we had blockades blocking anyone from coming past this point. Islam? So the ones in sub-Saharan Africa, which would be from here down, benefited from the military strategy and might of the Moors in the north, northwest, and even the influence the Moors had in the northeast. Right? So like it or not, you still benefit. And see, this was the demonstration of the Sultan of Morocco saying, you all should be taxed. Because it takes finance to uplift the nation. To protect the borders, I need to send the money up. Right? Why did the Moors go in and conquer and destroy Songha? Right? And take the brothers and sisters in Songha, mainly the scientists and military engineers, take them back to Morocco and so on and so forth, because they cut, which myself and the sister right discussed last week, they cut a side deal, the brothers down in Songha cut a side deal with the Portuguese. So in other words, instead of paying X amount percentage, to the Sultan or whatever, the Portuguese said, well, you don't have to pay us that much. If you help us overthrow the Sultan, you only have to pay us X amount. Right? Now the gold was coming from sub-Saharan Africa, Mali, so on and so forth. You got the gold, what you cutting side deals for? Right? But that goes to show that the hatred that had set in amongst our people. Right? You ever have a business idea, and you have a business, somebody that you like to make your business partner, and you explain to them the concept of what you're trying to do, but because of the hatred and the generations of us not being used to working together, they tell you no or join you and try to tear you up from within, right? Because they can't see you being on the equal plane with you. I'm supposed to have more than you. I'm not supposed to have the same as you, right? You think this just started yesterday? You think this just started with the European? And that's another thing. Do y'all believe that the European caused all the headaches that we have right now? All of them? So you telling me that the European had the power to conquer God? Really? Or did he help God? Did God help him conquer himself? Did God subconsciously get tired of ruling? Like, you know what? I want to go to sleep for a few seconds. You mean to tell me someone that when you met him, what was the state the European was in when you met him?
Animal.
Say again?
Animal.
To that. How was he animalistic? What was he doing?
I mean, hairy, eating flesh,
He's still
walking
hairy.
on all fours.
Right.
I mean, he got a lot of the same characteristics today.
No doubt.
To this day.
Right? He honors his forefathers. Right?
Yeah.
Right? No doubt.
But yeah.
Yeah, like you said, raw flesh, lice, the Black Plague and all that kind of stuff was just through filth because they didn't bathe. Who taught them not to bathe? The Catholic Church. Because they said it was evil spirits in the water. Islam? What was the first thing we did when we got to Spain? You built 900 places to take a bath. Because if nobody's bathing in the entire country, what did that smell like? Y'all know with these wide nostrils we got, how sensitive they are. Islam? So we went in to clean them up from the state they was in. So you mean to tell me that, and this is not radical agitate, they called themselves barbarian. Barbarian, period. In that you mean to tell me that overthrew the Moors? Couldn't be done without internal help. It's impossible. And even us saying he did that is subtle worship of him. We still worship in his image, whether you go in the church or not. The fear of him, the reverential speak that we have towards him. Like example, I'm a barber by trade. I'll be in shop, the shop during the day, brothers have barbershop talk. We in there talking about whatever. Brother bring up the European, and you talk about it, when you talk about Asiatics, yeah, I can't stand them brothers, and white man. Target language, we don't call it that, that's what the brother said. And I'll stop, excuse me, brother, did you just lower your voice when you said white man? I didn't lower my voice, he's not even aware that he did it. It's a self-programming, it's a self, how can I say, you're surveillancing yourself. Islam, So these are the things we have to realize. We have to study these things because this is what governs us now. See, Christianity is bigger than you just going to church on Sunday, right? The European name that that was placed on all of us, right? What do they call it? They call that a good Christian name. A European name is a Christian name. See, in the Catholic Church, you have something called a, what is it? Is it confirmation? When the baby's born, they bless the baby, give the confirmation, right? And they give it a Christian name. It's like a baptism for a baby.
Yeah, they call it christening too.
Christening, there we go. Christening. What's the root word of christening? Christ. Christening. Right? They're putting you in to the mind or the body of Caesar Borgia. From birth, from a baby. Islam? Now, if there's a Christian name, you got to think that during these terms evolved during the time of the Crusades, right? So if there's a Christian name, there should be something known as a Muslim name. Is a Muslim name an Arabic name? No. Because the Muslims were found all the way from China, all the way to the Americas. A Muslim name or a Moorish name could be any name, long as it reflects your forefathers. Right? But what Prophet Noble Drew Ali does, he comes back and gives you ill and bad. Right? Why does he give you these? Term ill, right? Y'all heard the term Elohim, right? What does Elohim mean? Say again?
Creator,
Those are connotatively, yes. It said creative. Elohim was what the 7 creative spirits, right? Islam. But the word El literally means mighty. Right? Back in the ancient language, they had a letter that went like that. Right? In Arabic, the letter, this is called Aleph. Right? This is the A sound. If you flip this way, it becomes the A, right? In English, right? Arabic, Aleph is just a single line, the plumb line, straight up and down, right? Modern Hebrew, it's right. But this was the first letter in the name El, right? If you take it and flip that letter this way, it becomes the hieroglyph for the word bull, the animal, the bull, which is a mighty one. The bull has long been a symbol of the Moors. They have a ceremony.